What are we even watching?
Explaining women, right? I'm gonna explain these women, am I right, fellas? Okay, this is casually explained. We're gonna start with, is she into you? I think this has come across my feed before. I'm not 100% sure. I'm gonna try a couple of their most popular and see what I think of them, and if we want to keep watching this series, because why not have 10,000 series going at once? Okay, let's see. Can I find out if she'll be into me, guys? I am actually notoriously bad knowing if anyone's flirting with someone.
I know a lot of guys have trouble picking up on the signs of whether or not a girl is into them, so today I want to do a little quiz so you can see if she actually does like you, or even just how good you are at recognizing signals that you might be getting. Let's say you're in a bar and you look across the length of the counter and you see a cute girl who glances at you briefly.
I'm already out. I don't go outside. I'm leaving. In a bar? I've never been in a bar. I think I've been in an Australian and New Zealand pub, and people were playing pool, and they were all old men, because I was there with my friends, because they were having cheap beers. Yeah, I feel like this ain't gonna help me much.
Does a quick hair flip and then turns back to her friends. Is she into you? Eye contact is obviously a good sign, but you really can't tell from this example.
Yeah, can't tell.
She could just be adjusting her hair, and maybe she was looking at someone behind you. So let's say you're at the office and your cute
the prettiest woman in the world, right?
co-workers waiting
Marjorie Tyrell. I can't remember her real name right now.
behind you to make some copies of whatever people make copies of, and she says, "Wow, do you think you could go any slower?" and then playfully punches your arm. Is she into you?
Is there assault on this list?
Again, you can't really tell from this example either. She might like you, but she might just be giggling and punching your arm as a sarcastic middle school throwback. So really no way to tell. Okay, so let's say you're at the gym on the elliptical for some reason.
What the fuck are those legs? You can't see them, but they're behind my head. But yeah, I want you to know they're horrifying.
And then Cutie McBooty comes in and gets on the exercise bike in front of you.
I'm starting to believe he likes blondes,
And then after 5 minutes, she looks back and says, "Wow, I'm so sweaty already. If only there were a way to get the same workout at home writing something else." And then gives you a wink. She into you?
Can't tell.
Yeah.
She could mean anything.
Yeah, I still can't tell with that one. Exercise equipment is pretty expensive, and maybe she lives in a small apartment and just doesn't have space. So maybe you find a good deal on rowing machines somewhere. You can show her the flyer. Okay, so
there's way smaller machines than that rowing machine.
Let's say you meet up with a friend that you've had coffee and drinks with a couple times, and she says, "I had a lot of fun on the last few dates we went on." That's a good sign, because she thought those hangouts were actually dates. So suppose then she says, "How'd you like to come back to my place and watch Netflix tonight?" That's another good sign. It's usually a pretty good indicator when a girl invites you to do something, especially at her place. So then let's say later at her house, you guys are watching Wall-E or something like that, and she says, "I'm getting pretty bored. Why don't you come upstairs with me?" That's another great sign. She probably has something pretty interesting to do upstairs if it's better than watching Wall-E. So
is it bad that I've never seen Wall-E?
Then after you go up there, all of a sudden she pushes you onto her bed, dims
face of the stick figures are killing me.
the lights, rips off her clothes, and you start having sex. Is she into you?
I'm gonna say yes. I feel like he's not gonna, though.
Yeah, again, you really can't be too
I know it.
sure. It's pretty dark in the room, so she can't really see you properly. Maybe she's from Canada and was just being polite. Anyway, best bet is to just keep your wits about you and continue to look for signs.
Keep your wits about you, fellas. I would say he got 90% correct. He did okay, guys.
They say that the heart...
I don't know if he helped me specifically tell if someone's flirting with me, but did you feel like he helped, guys? Casually explain levels of wealth. Okay, let's see his
When
next,
we think of money,
his next most popular one.
it's usually in terms of what things we can buy with it. But your level of wealth doesn't only determine what you own, it can determine entirely what your life looks like. And I wanted to give a bit of an overview of what that could look like at some different intervals.
Okay.
Now, at the bottom of the pyramid,
I'm about to get called poor.
of course, we have the alcoholic, amphetamine-abusing lowlife who...
Hey, he needs money for alcohol and amphetamines. He has some money. Some of us are too poor to even be drug addicts.
mooch off public services because they can't pay their debts or find a job. Fucking grad students.
True.
Disgusting. Next, we have the working
Unfortunately, because most people go back to grad school because they can't find a job, and then they still can't find a job, so it's hard.
middle class, which makes up about 90% of the population. Even though it might seem like they can't accomplish much compared to the elites of society, members of the middle class can work together to become much more powerful. As an example, with one roommate they can afford rent, but with two they can afford furniture. The middle class earns up to $300,000 a year, but the median individual income is a lot more modest at $38,000. This can be pretty misleading though, because if you're 50 with a wife and 2 kids, $38K a year is pretty rough. But if you're 21 and single, you're buying resale Yeezys thinking, man, I wonder how much sex I'd have if I didn't live with my parents.
That is like very true though. Like it's like one income by myself, easy breezy. Family, I'm dead.
So in conjunction, I think there are a couple lifestyle indicators to check to see if you're in the middle class, such as your grandparents had 5 kids, your parents had 3 kids, and you're gonna put a stop to it once and for all.
The only way to stay in the middle class. Not have kids, unfortunately.
And you don't have an emergency fund because you figure that if you're on vacation, your appendix gives out. Why would you spend 20K on surgery when you could just die?
You could just buy I don't know, travel insurance, guys. That's also.
So moving beyond the middle class, we get to the start of your truly wealthy people. These are the notorious 1% who typically have an individual income of $300,000 or higher, or a net worth of over $8 million.
Living the dream, guys. They're living the dream.
Usually this means you have more than one home, active investments, travel whenever you want, and basically have the best of everything short of private jets and a Battlefront 2 season pass. But in the same
Those season passes are getting out of control.
way someone in the arts might wave their fists at an accomplished engineer, there's a huge difference between people within the 1%.
Oh my god, and as engineers, this is so true. So many people, especially YouTubers, are engineers, but they don't work as engineers.
As an example, if
What's wrong with their engineering job, guys? Like, actually, the only engineer I know is having a horrible time finding a job as an engineer. So, does it suck to be an engineer, guys?
If you're worth 75 million, you have the ability to see almost anyone in the world just by asking. But if you're worth 75 billion, you have the ability to see almost anyone in the world without asking. Once you're worth over $100 million, people use
What?
your first and last name when they talk about you. And if you're not famous, you at least have a Wikipedia page that you didn't make yourself. You likely make up to 10 million a year, which to compare with the more normal income is like going to Costco and paying $1.50 for a hot dog, but getting 100 hot dogs. I don't know why I left that in. At this point, your wealth is almost magnetic to more wealth, and ironically, things start costing less. I could pay $5,000 for a Gucci.
True. That is what sucks about having money. It's the same conundrum of you save money by bulk buying certain things because you save more in bulk, but you have to have the money to buy in bulk, and that is why in the long run you can save more money if you have money. It sucks ass, but it is how money works.
Suit, and people might think I'm cool, but if I were actually cool, Gucci would have paid me to wear it. While it sounds pretty great, you might start to wonder if people like you for you.
It's kind of true though, right?
Or only like you because you're rich and famous. Fortunately though, you are rich and famous. So finally, at the very top of the pyramid, we have the people worth over $1 billion, the 0.001%. Guys like Elon, Jeff, Branson, and Bill. These people have so much money they can literally change the world. Save the kids? Done. Create your own space program? Done.
Yet they fucking don't, lazy mother truckers, okay?
Dinner with the president? You are the president. You don't fly business, you buy the business. When you get pet supplies from Amazon, you mean the rainforest. And when you say, hey babe, how about I drive this time? You're talking to the car. If you look
Why does that look so funny? I'm like, hey babe, Elon Musk talking to his car.
at the absolute top, Jeff Bezos recently overtook Bill Gates, and
Bezos.
to be as rich as the two of them, you would have to earn about $5,000 every minute you were alive. They even said themselves, I don't think I could even spend the money if I tried. Fucking amateurs.
Yeah, a lot of us could if we tried. Well, that's the thing. That's what I find funny. If they have that much money, why don't they just give it away? Like, even Jeff Bezos' ex-wife just started giving the money away from, like, the shares and stuff she had. Because she had so much money. But also, I guess that was one of, like, the stickler points in their divorce. Was she wanted to do charity work. He wasn't up or something. But it's just like, even she, who only got, like, not even 50% of some of his money, like, she's got a settlement. She got so much money from it. that she can just give it away.
And with the pyramid capped off, if we step back, it does seem like the implication here is that your life gets better the more money you have, which brings about the age-old question of, does money buy you happiness? And from what I've looked at, I think the best explanation is that money won't buy you happiness, but it can make problems go away that make you unhappy. Like when you go to take money out of your bank.
True. That is the thing. That's why it's like after a certain point, you won't get happier with money, but like that's point is like 100K. You still, it's gonna make you happy.
Bank account and get charged a fee because there's no money in your bank account. When you buy tickets online, you have to pay extra for doing all the work yourself. With that said, I wanted to end it at that point, but I showed my friend and she said, "Is that it? Is it just?"
See, that's a point I want to make too. I hate that. Why is there convenience fee for buying online? It's like the checkout charging more for being a self-checkout. That makes no fucking sense. Stupid.
First world countries, what about the rest of the world? And you know, like they say, you can't make your sneakers and wear them too. The good news is that my demographics show that there aren't many people in third world countries watching my videos. They don't have internet. So we'll worry about that another time.
His thing is they're too poor to be my problem.
As a quick side note, if you want to get an audio version of any of my videos, you can go to the Castbox app or website and subscribe to the Casually Explained channel. Right now, I think there's only one video uploaded there, but the rest are going to be processing.
Podcasts. Crazy. Okay, so the next one. Red flags explained. Okay. So she and you, not bad. Wealth explained, fair. I need more into the pores though for it to be an even pyramid. You know what I mean? I'm getting a feeling he really likes pyramids from like the thumbnails. He loves using pyramids. Casually explained. Red flags. Let's do it. Can any of us see red flags? Or do all we see is green? Let's do it.
In dating and relationships, a red flag is a small thing you notice in someone else's behavior that's symptomatic of a bigger problem.
And sometimes you don't see them until after, like a little bit. That's most of the time. And then you're like, whoa, that was actually really obvious. I'm an idiot.
Trouble is that oftentimes a red flag can be hard to pick up on because red flags aren't only what someone does, they can also be what they don't do. And some red flags are certainly worse than others, so I want to start with the more mild ones and move up from there. Assuming you start with a blank white flag, at the lowest level we have red and white flags, which are just small quirks or inconsistencies that aren't bad, just kind of weird. Things like they don't lick the yogurt off the lid, they use Internet Explorer.
Explorer. To be fair, that's a bit odd.
They hold the door open for you as soon as they see you park your car, or they're apologetic even if something is your fault. Basically, if it can be explained with, "Oh, Canadian."
Wait, how is that one? They feel bad for you if something bad happens to you? That doesn't sound like a red flag.
Then it's probably in this category. So let's get started on the serious stuff. Low-tier red flags. A low-tier red flag is something that's probably bad, but not necessarily a complete deal breaker. They don't laugh at your jokes. I thought this was just normal, but they...
I have to say, that's pretty red flag. That's more like a relationship problem than a red flag, because a red flag is like something generally like bad. Them not liking your jokes may just be they aren't right for you, right?
Say if a girl doesn't laugh at your jokes, she probably isn't very compatible with you. If a girl is really into you though, she'll likely laugh at
See?
all your jokes, even if they're not very good. They have a secretive past. This depends a lot on how communicative the person is. They might just be anxious about sharing personal details, but if they have no problem talking about anything and everything except their past, there's either something they don't want you to know, which is pretty bad,
Or they're secretly a spy.
or they're a Russian spy.
Oh my god. What the fuck? I think we share the same brain cell, me and this guy.
Which is pretty hot. Putting you on a pedestal, that is to say they think you're way out of their league. This one's obviously more common for guys to do to girls, but it can go the other way around too. Imagine I was in bed with a girl. Just gonna let that sink in. Imagine I was in bed with a girl and she whispered, "Oh my god, Casually Explained, tell me again about how many subscribers you have." Of course that would be a huge turn on and I have dreams about that, but it's
Why is that a big turn on for him?
probably going to be a pretty one-sided relationship.
Yeah, because if someone like just asks like, how many subscribers do you have? They're like, huh? Huh? Who told you I had a YouTube?
Think of how celebrities almost always date each other, even though they could be with any fan they wanted. They have the same last name as you. That's a bad sign. In most places.
Well, to be fair, I remember watching a Korean drama where it's like illegal or was illegal in the 80s to marry someone with the same last name as you, but the thing is, in Asian countries, a lot of last names are very similar. So, I guess, is it that much of a red flag? Like, you might be related, but if your last name is really common, like, who knows? It's like Johnson. If your last name is Johnson, it's like there's a bajillion Johnsons.
All right, mid-tier red flags. These are a bit more serious and are usually harder to overcome or talk about. Tread very carefully if you notice any of these. They're a stripper. On paper, it might sound well and good, but when it inevitably
Peace.
doesn't work out, you'll realize that from now on, you can only pay for things by card. Worth it. They don't have any independence. That is to say, if they have no interests or hobbies or ambitions in their life, it's likely they'll try to involve themselves in every moment of yours.
Yep, red flag, mainly because I need my alone time, guys. Everyone needs hobbies. It's good for you.
Which will eventually weigh you down and get in the way of your goals. Kind of like Reddit. They trash talk their ex a lot early in the relationship. This is usually an indicator they're still emotionally invested in their previous partner, and it can be very difficult to build a new relationship from the rubble of an old one. Got that from Tumblr. Using ultimatums. These are saying things like, you have to do X or I'm going to do Y. You have to watch out though, because that's like me saying, if you don't subscribe, I'm not going to be your friend, which I would never say. Only think.
Mine would probably be, if you don't subscribe, I'm going to plant my officer's boot so far up your ass, you're going to taste leather. Oh, would I say that? Would I, huh?
All right, next is high tier red flags. These are the ones that are complete deal breakers and are pretty much always non-negotiable. They're married, unless you're into that.
Yeah, that's usually a good one.
They're already pregnant,
That's all.
unless you're into that.
Can you stop asking the whole with, unless you're into that?
They're under 18. This isn't just a red flag, it's a felony.
Thank you, thank God he didn't say.
But if you do find yourself attracted to girls who are still in high school, a great way to get over that is to talk to one of them. They treat
I want to see this food is 4.5 out of 10 at best.
wait staff poorly.
Yeah, to be fair, I thought he was going to say best go to prison. There's tons of under 18. So just check them.
I think being mean to other people in general is a good sign of how they're going to treat you in the future, and I know that'd be hard to deal with because my self-esteem is based on what other people think of me. If you don't like their friends, people tend to be friends with people similar to them, and if someone surrounds themselves with unsavory individuals, it tells you a lot about that person. Now,
But everyone hates my friend Lagana. They just drive me crazy.
after a long time, eventually you might find that after going on date after date or going through relationship after relationship, even just after meeting a lot of new people, you start to think, it really seems like pretty much everyone I meet has something wrong with them. They don't get me, they always have problems that they don't think are problems. I can't connect with them at all, and why can't I find someone who's not such a disaster? This is the maximum tier red flag. It's actually just you. This might sound pretty bad, but in a way, realizing that you might be a bit more responsible than you previously thought is the first step to becoming a more wholesome person.
Sometimes you have to reflect on, am I not recognizing red flags or am I attracted to red flags? It's something to think about because your actions are the only ones you can control. Unless you learn mind control powers, which would be helpful. But
And having better relationships with other people. And if you have a friend who shared this video with you, now is the moment where you reflect on whether they thought you'd find it funny and interesting, or if they're trying to passive-aggressively tell you something.
sending it to my most red flag blind friend right now. Right now. Okay. I need tips on that for sure. This will be our last one to see. And don't forget to put in the comments below, should we continue the Casually Explained series? Or do you have any series we should be doing? Eat the Right. We're not even started Eat the Right one. You look good.
Pretty common knowledge that certain foods are healthy and others aren't so much. It's pretty rare that you ever get an explanation as to why. And one thing that bothers me quite a bit is when someone says to eat something because it's good for you or it's a superfood. And almost universally what that really translates to is it grows in nature. Ironically, half the time it only grows
Neat.
in nature because we've selectively bred it over thousands of years to be that way. And when half of our leading sources of nutrition advice are Pinterest recipes, a lot of what we consider common knowledge is actually completely made up. As an example, one of the most common terms you'll see online with regards to healthy food is that something gets rid of toxins in your body, which really doesn't.
Toxins. See, I'm all about stomach, not toxin, mainly because my stomach hates me. But also, I guess just like generally well-balanced food. Mainly because I refuse to give up meat in any form. Or fats. Or other things.
Doesn't make any sense. If your body is filled with toxins and certain foods remove them, then that means we could have brought back Steve Irwin with a blueberry smoothie. In reality, almost all supplements or foods that get rid of toxins are really just laxatives or diuretics. So it makes you feel like they're somehow flushing something away, when in reality, you could have just put 3 shots of vodka in your latte like a regular person.
Kind of true. Like a lot of the stuff that is like good for your health. There are some good that is good for your stomach health, like probiotics that you find in fermented foods and other stuff. But that's more about balance, and like having the right balance of germs. In your stomach. That's
the next thing you'll often run into are online recipes for anything made overnight in a mason jar telling you you're not getting enough antioxidants. And one of the ways you can tell if you're not getting enough antioxidants is by looking at your skin and seeing if it's starting to rust. And
if it's starting to rust, what the fuck? I think if your skin is rusting, I think your liver's given up.
While they do play a role in your body, the problem with suggesting that you should consume more is that it's fundamentally like saying the more oil you have in your car, the less likely it is to break down, which is not true, because too much actually makes things worse. The good news is that you do have
Learned that the hard way.
too much oil in your car, you can add the excess to your overnight oats because motor oil is also high in antioxidants. Another common idea that's recently started to shift is that you should never skip breakfast, which there is absolutely no scientific basis for, except that breakfast food is my favorite. I think the funny thing is that when I used to tell people
Yeah, pretty much the meal you shouldn't skip is your favorite meal. But I did hear if you because diabetic ones, I have a few in my family that have sugar problems and insulin problem, and having a meal longer from them when you go to bed is good for you, but that really depends how your body processes things. So advice is very individual depending on your body.
people I skipped breakfast, they thought I was crazy, but now I can say I'm doing intermittent fasting, and they're like, oh, very disciplined, when in reality I just woke up at noon. Relatedly, the next thing that's often incredibly misunderstood is diet.
See, I tried that, but my doctor said I sleep too long, because then I accidentally fast for 18 hours, so I shouldn't do that.
Especially with things like paleo, keto, intermittent fasting, and varying degrees of vegetarianism becoming so popular. We've all heard limitless jokes about, how do you know if someone is a vegan? Because they'll tell you, ha ha ha, classic comedy. But that's not even the case anymore. I see way more people on low-carb ketogenic diets post things on the internet like, look at this fool I saw today eating an apple like an absolute normie, as they show off their Costco haul of pork rinds and butter.
Hey, keto's cool because it makes everything I want to eat healthy.
The most important thing to know is that generally speaking, weight is regulated by calorie intake, so you have a certain amount of calories you burn in a day, and if you repeatedly intake more than that, you'll gain weight, and if you intake less than that, you'll lose weight. As a quick disclaimer, the exact amount of calories absorbed from food isn't always 100%, which is why some people claim calories in, calories out isn't true.
There's also variables, as in insulin resistance, your health, your activity level, etc., you know?
But being more exact, calories metabolized and absorbed minus calories burned always is true.
There was like a study done that liquid foods are burned, so that's why soups and other things, the calories from them tend to burn quicker in your body, but that's because it moves through your body quicker. which makes sense if you know how your stomach works, but yeah, that's about it.
Now, for the average person, the amount of calories burned is around 2,000 to 2,500 calories a day. Then the generally accepted rule is that there is 3,500 calories in a pound of body fat. So say you wanted to get thick.
Oh god, he's mathing at me. And if you're a disabled person like me, it's like, I think mine's 1,400 calories. Is my, if I don't do any extra exercise, that's all I burn. It's a bad day to love food.
Because it's 2019, you would have to eat roughly 500 calories above your daily maintenance for 71 days to gain 10 pounds. Then if we look at the composition of food itself, all food is made up of 3 primary macronutrients that serve a different bodily function, and each has a different caloric value. We have fat, which has 9 calories per gram, protein, which has 4 calories per gram, and carbohydrate.
Put the fat and the protein together, and then I'll only eat it.
which have 4 calories per gram.
Okay, I like carbohydrates too.
As well. And then there's a 4th bonus macronutrient, alcohol, which has 7 calories per gram.
Ooh, poison, I love it.
As for their physiological roles, loosely speaking, fat regulates hormones and stops your cells from imploding. Protein is for bodily function and muscular regeneration. Carbohydrates are primarily for aerobic and anaerobic activity. And then alcohol, which sadly just poisons you.
Yep. This goes against the myth that fat is bad for you. You need a good balance of fat in your diet too. It's all about balance, which is sadly also what my diet's about, but even with my low calorie intake needs, is balance.
The good news is that because too much alcohol is toxic, if your friend is passed out in the club bathroom, you can flush out the alcohol by popping a blueberry under their tongue, just like a sensu bean. Below that, we have fiber and micronutrients, which are all your vitamins and minerals. Just make sure you get enough of these or your teeth will fall out.
Yep, fiber's good for you guys. But I feel like that's something people need to like pay more attention to than like toxins or some shit. They're fiber and proteins and stuff like that.
Now, with these fundamentals in mind, if we start to take a look at all the popular and successful diets out there nowadays, the fact of the matter is that almost all of them have good points, but they also all have bad points. Meaning that you're not an enlightened member of the nutritional Illuminati just because you stopped eating bread. And if we take a look at all the most common diets that cover the full spectrum
True. People act like they're like the god of a cult.
of plant-based to animal-based, we can see they all have pros and cons. Veganism is sustainable and very nice to the animals, but it's a bit harder to get the right macronutrients, and you constantly have to wonder if your friends don't want you for dinner because of your dietary restrictions or just your personality.
That also not everyone can sustain certain diets because of the way their body absorbs things. Like certain people, like it's more common in women, don't absorb iron well and other vitamins, so that's something to keep in mind.
Vegetarianism is sustainable and nice to the animals, but limited food choices. Paleo diets are good for weight loss, but again, limited food choice. Ketogenic diets, very good for weight loss because it massively regulates blood sugar, which affects cravings and appetite, but it's extremely limiting in terms of food choice. Not very good for anyone doing anaerobic sports because there are no available carbohydrates, but it's actually not bad if you run ultra marathons. So next time you go for a 100-mile run, make sure to bring your pepperoni holster.
Yeah, that's something we've all done, right, guys? We go running all the time.
Carnivorous diets, these ones are a bit weird and they're very unsustainable, but very good for weight loss and autoimmune disorders / arthritis / certain types of depression. And while there have been some pretty miraculous anecdotes, the downside is that it has not been well studied long term, and everyone at the restaurant will think you're a serial killer as you peel the breading off your KFC family bucket.
True, but yeah, that is the thing. Like,
For some reason,
your diet just has to suit you because, like, you all have different like needs. Your body. It's the same thing of medication can work for you if you have the sickness it is curing. But if you're taking like a painkiller but you have no pain, you're just a drug addict at that point.
the community is also really involved with cryptocurrency, so if anyone was actually the nutritional Illuminati, this would be it. And then finally, the classic if it fits your macros, which means eating whatever you want as long as it fits within a designated calorie limit and matches the amount of protein, fat, and carbohydrates you've allotted. This is common for athletes and people who want to be bodybuilders, but in the 7 years they've been going to the gym, they've only made 2 years worth of progress.
No sarcastic drawing for this because I'm pretty rocked, right? My god, we all know someone like this though.
Speaking of the gym, there are also a few misconceptions when it comes to exercise, and one of the most common jokes you hear in weightlifting communities is making fun of people who say, "I'm just looking to tone." Because the only two variables to your physical appearance is the volume of muscle you have and the volume of fat you have. It's also incredibly difficult to gain muscle. So you'll often hear girls and even guys say, "You know, I'm worried that if I start lifting weights, I'll get too big." And unfortunately, the thing is, no matter how much you believe you're an anime protagonist, it just isn't going to happen. Ultimately,
That's, to be fair, like my thoughts sometimes go that way because I get like do cardio only, but that's only because like my sister is like so fucking strong. I'm just like, bro, it must be in my genes somewhere, right, to be strong, right? She didn't just steal all the strength.
There are two main ways of improving your physical health through exercise, which are strength training and cardiovascular training. In other words, how strong is your bod and how strong is your heart and lungs. And while even 30 minutes to an hour of walking a day is enough to make sure everything keeps working, further training at the gym is not only a good idea, it's a lifestyle where you can lift a
Someone take the gym away from him. He's going gym, bro.
heavy thing now so you can be in pain for a while and then lift a slightly heavier thing later, or ski on the elliptical until exhaustion so that once your heart eventually recovers, you'll have more love to give.
No matter the exercise you do, a little bit of exercise every day is just good. It's good for your heart. Live long and all that stuff. Shouldn't be you don't have to take it too serious to be healthy. But what do you guys think of Casually Explained? I liked it. It was goofy. It was a bit of fun. It was comedy. And I love all these like little animated like scuff sketch kind of things we've been watching. They're a lot of fun. But guys, if you want to see more videos like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that bell. Thanks for watching with me, YouTube viewers. If you should become a delinquent, though. They're watching because they like me, I think. Become a delinquent, guys. I'll catch you next time.